Hey everyone. Okay, the gym is going right now, so hopefully it's not too loud for you. We're going to do a bit of a hip and low back deload. So you're going to start on, you're sitting in this kind of position, hands relaxed behind you. And what I want you to do is you're going to open your knees here, open your feet, and we're just going to warm up a little bit with our knees dropping in towards the center. So what I see a lot of people doing is they'll start to like reach really hard, and that will turn on a lot of the muscles we're trying to calm down right now. So you want to think more of like a passive flopping. Oh, I hope you heard the big thunk of my hip there. So when you get to your end range and it's kind of flopping, you should feel a stretch at the back of the hip is what you're looking for. If you're feeling a crazy amount of pinching, just try sit on some books, a pillow, so underneath your hips, or a yoga block, whatever's easiest. But you should notice that kind of the more that you're getting into this flow, your legs are getting a little bit easier to move. If this feels really hard, you can start in this position. Good. Keep going. The other way that I see people trying this exercise and going a little bit astray is you want to keep your bum bones planted on the ground. So you shouldn't be switching your weight off of a side. It defeats the purpose. You're not doing the point of the exercise. The point is to mobilize the joint, and the joint is best mobilized when you are at your max rotation. And again, that should be passive. Our bum bones should be planted. Our chest should stay facing ahead. Hopefully this isn't too loud for you guys. Good. Okay, you're going to scooch your bum back, legs straight out in front of you. And we're going to do some grab wherever's comfortable for you. You're going to inhale and exhale, slide forward as much as you need to. If you want to bend your knees, that's totally fine. If anyone's getting like nervy numbness or tingling, definitely bend your knees. So inhale, exhale, stretch. Inhale, exhale, stretch. I want you guys to lead that stretch by kind of sticking your bum out behind you. So it's more of a hip movement to propel you forward rather than you just crunching over this way. And again, that's about as much of an active movement as we want to create here. Most of what we're doing when we're stretching in this case should be a passive movement. So if I'm fighting and getting this way, again, it's not as bad, but you're probably not doing what your goal is. Good. Okay, one leg's going to come out to the side. The other one's going to come in. And we are going to try and reach over as comfortably as we can. You can add in the hand movement so it feels a little bit more gentle. Both bum bones are connected onto the ground with this. And you should be getting a good stretch through your inner thigh, maybe a little bit through this hip as well, but it should mostly feel like it's through the groin on the right side. Good. As you come back up, this hand, your left hand's going to go to your left hip or your right hand to your right hip, and then you're going to reach up and over away from your outstretched leg. Good. Push up, come back. And bend up and over. You should be feeling this maybe through your lats, should be through your low back. So pay attention that your bum bone isn't lifting at the same time that you're reaching up and over. Whew, low back's tight. Good. Okay, back to center. Try a couple bends here. Inhale. Exhale, stick your bum out. Bend your knees if you need to. Good. Perfect. Stretch this leg out. This foot's going to come in. And we're walking forward, walking back. Good. This time when you walk up, same hand, same bent leg side. Reach up and over, away from that outstretched leg. Good. Okay. We're going to tuck ourselves under onto our hands and knees here. And we're just going to do a few pelvis tilting back to our feet. So pay attention to how this movement feels. And what I want you to kind of look for is your tailbone lightly tucks under you as you drop back towards your heels. Okay, so it's almost like a cat and cow, but we've got a bit of a dynamic movement here. So as I come up, I'm going a little bit beyond neutral, tiny bit of a bum tuck, or reverse bum tuck, I should say. So in this position, you can see my back arching a little bit more. And then I tuck under and I come back down to my heels. This should feel comfortable the whole way through. Let us know if it doesn't. Good. Okay, so now we're going to walk our knees out. So we're almost straddling the sides of our mat. Our legs are now going to be in line with our knees. So you're almost in this like frog position. And then we're just going to be rocking back and forth, trying to see if we can drop down onto our elbows. If this feels like it's too hard to drop down on your elbows, keep doing your rock back and forth. So you're just going to play around with your depth. It'll feel a little easier if you've got weight on your arms. But if this feels okay, you can start to sink down into this frog pose. And you can do a little tiny weight drop. This should be big time groin stretch. You shouldn't feel anything in your low back. If you do, don't worry. Just come higher up onto your knees, put more weight onto your hands, and just play around with neutral to your bum dropping down towards your heels. It also will kind of tell you something. If this is hurting your low back, then you've got a hip issue that might be complicating the low back. Good. See if you can sink a little bit further if it feels good. Good. Push up through your elbows. Get up back onto your knees. Walk your hands forward. We're going to push up into downward dog just for a second. Then we're going to float forward into a plank position. Knees going to come in between my hands. Rotate my lower leg out to the side. And then sink down if you can. Or just hold up and stay on your arms. And hold here, and then push up onto your hands. And then what I want you to do is you're gonna kind of stick your bum out to get more of a stretch. So you're tilting your pelvis, and you should feel the stretch change a little bit. Good, and then relax and come back down. And push up. And stick the bum out. Good. And relax and come back down. And push up onto your hands. Plant that back leg. Push up into plank. float into downward dog. Hold here for a second, just try do a couple bounces, get that sternum towards the mat. Float, hover into plank, knee comes in between your hands, rotate that leg out, untuck your toe, sink down if it feels comfortable, drop onto your elbows. Plant those hands, push up, and then stick your bum out. You should feel the stretch change, get a little bit deeper within the hip. Good, and back down onto the elbows. My goal with this one, come on up onto your hands, stick your bum out, was to not talk too much because I thought you guys might want this as a relaxing morning or evening stretch routine. But I can hear the gym music banging in the background, so that plan might be out the window anyways. Good, drop back down onto your elbows. Good, and then hands planted, tuck that back leg, hover into plank, push up into downward dog. Let's just do a little bit of walking the dog, so meet those feet closer together and play with trying to drop one heel down to the ground and straightening your knee at the same time. Good. Drop one knee down into the center of the mat. Come on up into a lunge position here. You're going to stretch the front of your hip and the front of your leg. So how I want you doing that is tucking your bum underneath you. So a lot of people start lunging forward. It's not what I want you doing at this point in time. You're tucking under, and probably even in neutral, you'll feel a big stretch through here. And then hold on to something for balance if you need to. You can change this stretch slightly by tucking your leg a little bit more into your midline, your lower leg. And then you can raise your arm up as well. So we're going to take a few breaths here. So inhale, exhale. So you'll notice, and I said, I'm a hypermobile person, I'm very flexible, and I can't move past neutral. So I really want you to make sure you've got that tailbone tucked under you, low back relaxed, and you should get a big pull, big stretch to the front of the hip, maybe down the leg. Good. Bring that leg back to neutral. Tuck under again. See if you can start to shift a little bit forward while you keep that pelvic tilt. Your arm might not be important here for that stretch. If it is, you'll feel it a little bit more along the side. But don't worry about it if you're not feeling a deeper stretch with that. Good. Okay, swap sides. Tuck underneath you. Try go forward slightly. So this one's a lot more down the front of my quad. Good. Bring that lower leg a little bit more to midline. Tuck under. Reach that arm up. A few deep breaths here. Good. Lower leg back to midline. Tuck under, and you're going to do a few rocks here. Okay, I want you guys to go get either a foam roller or a pillow. I'll show you what we're going to be doing. We're getting into that exact same stretch position, but I want your foot to be somewhat elevated. So you're going to get into that same lungy kind of position, and as you tuck under, you should feel it more through your quad. If you feel like you have the flexibility, if you feel like this won't provoke your knee, you can reach back and grab behind you. You could grab a towel or a sheet, to help you grab. But you want to feel that stretch go down the front of your quad now. You are tucking your bum underneath you and holding neutral, but we're not worried about rocking forward at this point. So the pillow option is the less intense version of what I'm doing here. Knee up, tuck under. If it feels okay, you can reach back and grab behind you. Whew. It's always one side that balance is tricky. Good. You should feel a big pull here. Perfect. Untuck that. Grab your same pillows because you're going to sit on top of them. Hopefully this is an okay demonstration for you guys. You can use a foam roller too if you like, but the idea is our hips are up top a little bit higher. One leg's going to come towards us and the other one's just going to drop out and splay out to the side. If this feels pinchy on the one hip you're bringing up, just move it slightly out to the side. And your goal is to try to shut your hips off. As you bring this one as far out to the side as you can, you should feel a little bit of a pull on the front of this hip. Good. Back to center. Bring that other knee up. Pull it towards your chest or whatever feels comfortable. Out to the side if you need to. As you move out to the side, you should feel more of a pull through the top of that hip. Good. This other knee comes up. You can bring both knees out to the side and just rock back and forth in this position. So you're kind of holding your knees from the top. You're not necessarily pushing them down a ton, but you should feel a big groin stretch here. Good. Okay, knees are going to come together. Feet are going to come down. Bridge up as you pull the pillows out of the way or foam roller. Rock back and forth in this position. And we're going to try a couple things here. So the first thing I want to do is, I know you guys are going to think this is a bridge like the exercise we normally do, but I just want you to do a baby pelvic tilt, a slight lift as you kind of push your feet into the ground. And then I want you to completely turn your low back off and see if you can get a nice kind of decompression feeling. You can rock back and forth if you need to. If you're feeling this mostly through your low back, really make sure that you're kind of tilting that pelvis and then lifting up through your hips. So if you think about almost like squeezing your hamstrings, squeezing your bum, and then checking in and sending air into your low back, you should feel that kind of like heavy sinking feeling in your low back. It should feel like a nice letting go. Good, keep holding there. Knees are going to come out to your chest. Next thing we're going to try, you're going to rock back and forth, and that should feel like a nice mobilization on your sacrum and your SI joints. Play around with a circle. You're still trying to generate this kind of as passively as you can. So everything should just feel like you're giving a little massage to the low back and the SI joints. You'll notice the more you pull your knees to your chest, the more your pelvis rounds off the ground. So just kind of tuck away that information here. Because what a lot of people do when they tug their knees to their chest is they kind of crunch with their core and they pull towards them, and that never feels like a back deloading or a relaxation of the low back. So I want you guys to kind of play around with pulling your knees. It can be off to the side if you need to untuck your feet and do your ball like this, that's totally fine. But what you'll notice is as you go off to the side and you do more of a pull, so you're shutting your low back off, but you're pulling your knees to your chest, you'll notice that your low back gets a stretch. And that's what we're looking for. Perfect. And then I want you to tuck your ankles, and we're gonna play with this little rocking motion. So the rocking motion is generated by me pulling my knees to my chest, and then I'm just relaxing and letting go. So it looks like I'm rolling like a little ball. You can let your knees come out more if you need to. So don't worry if you can't get your knees up. It should just feel like a little massage on your spine. Good. If this has all felt great and you have no issues, you guys can attempt a little bit of it. So as I'm gonna hold my hands on my knees, but as I go to let go, I'm gonna kind of push down with my legs, hold myself tight, and allow myself to get rocked up into a little ball. Perfect. Great job, guys.